meanwhile, we're looking at stimulus. It is moving forward. The Senate is set to take up the $1.9 trillion bill as early as today. We are expecting potential passage by the end of the week in the Senate. The $100 million Silicon Valley area rail expansion has been removed from the bill amidst all of that backlash. Progressives, however, are already gearing up for the next round. 11 senators are calling on President Biden to provide recurring checks until the jobs market improves. But it has been improving. Joining me right now is West Virginia Senator Shelley Capito. Senator, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for joining us. Will you vote for the stimulus package?
You know, Maria, I will not vote for the stimulus package. Only 9% of what we have in the stimulus package, which we all agree on, goes to health-related items. We haven't spent a lot of money that we provided in December. And so I think it's just a bloated $1 trillion extra dollars going into the economy that we really needed to target or at least pull it back. I was one of the 10 senators, Republican senators, that went to the president asking for a much more targeted bill.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. You were part of this initial group of GOP senators. Right. You met with President Biden. You said you were looking for a bipartisan stimulus bill. We know that we already have $5 trillion in money thrown at this economy in about a year. And at some point, debt and deficits matter. How is it possible that your colleagues on the left are able to jam in all these things in a bill to get money to all of their pet projects and then call it a COVID bill?
Exactly. I mean, I think it's pent-up demand on their part, quite frankly, when you see pouring more money into transit where money hasn't been spent, putting more money into the schools when we still have much money left from the last COVID plan to get our schools open, and still the schools are not open. We see unspent money in agriculture, all kinds of other transportation projects, et cetera. And then we're putting $350 billion into state and local, and 21 of our states have actually done better in their tax collections over the last several years. So I think it's pent-up demand by them to throw money at their pet projects, environmental justice, other things that really don't have anything to do with the emergency that this bill is supposedly coming through with to cover the relief for COVID and the health effects of that as well.
Meanwhile, Senator, can you explain to us what the heck is going on with our schools? We've got parents and families watching this morning. They are incredibly frustrated that their kids cannot go to school. Meanwhile, there was money for the schools in the CARES Act. There was money for the schools in several of these stimulus packages. There's more money for the schools in this packages. What is it going to take to get the teachers back in the classroom?
You know, I think that is the question that by far is the most frustrating and deeply hurtful to many people. And think about the students that don't have, you know, parents that can honcho their online learning or that can help them with their homework every day, or basically don't want to help their children. Those are the children that are going to fall further and further behind. We have people working in all facets of our economy right now. Our teachers need to get vaccinated and they need to return safely to the classroom. I'm proud to say West Virginia K through 8 is all open 5 days a week. That just happened last week. But I think I caught a headline where President Biden said he wants to have the schools open by May. Well, what happens in May? The schools close again for the summer. So some of these students are going to lose a whole year of learning, not to say the mental health effects of not being in the classroom, parents having to quit their job. I mean, these schools should have been open, and I hope they continue to open. I know some of them are opening now, but it's still not enough.
Well, they're not getting the tools that they need to actually succeed later on in life. I mean, here we are having this discussion about a $15 minimum wage. These students should want to have more than a minimum wage, exceed this idea that the government's going to give you $15 minimum wage. Senator Bernie Sanders tweeted last night this, quote, "As soon as tomorrow, I will introduce an amendment on the floor of the Senate to end starvation wages in America. No one can survive on $7.25 an hour." Senator, this comes as the progressives announced that he intends to try and overrule the Senate parliamentarian, which, as you know, said that the $15 minimum wage proposal does not meet the chamber's rules to pass via reconciliation. What are you hearing from your colleagues on the left with regard to this minimum wage debate?
Well, I don't think the $15 minimum wage will go into the package, and I don't think Senator Durbin, who's one of the leaders, said the other day that they have no intentions of overruling the parliamentarian, and I don't think they have the votes to do it anyway. Look, let's look at the minimum wage. It hasn't been raised since 2007. Many states, mine included, have already passed provisions to go above the minimum wage in their own states, and we know a lot of states have done that. You know, let's take a look at it separately. I'm on a bill with Senator Romney and Senator Cotton to raise it to $10 gradually and use E-Verify and then tag it to an index. I think that makes a lot of sense, but $15 minimum wage throws 1.4 million people out of work. And you know, it raises 900,000 supposedly folks out of poverty, but you're just going to plunge another 1.4 million into poverty. So it makes no sense. And so I don't think this is it's not going to be in there. And I think that it's going to have to go back to the House and pass without it because our rules don't prevent it. And I don't think there'll be any success in trying to overrule that.
Meanwhile, where do they want to spend? How do they want to pay for this? Are you expecting another package in the next month? I keep bringing this up because a number of Wall Street sources are expecting there's going to be a second package that has more infrastructure in it, but mostly it's going to be raising taxes. So is that what you're expecting within the next month, this $4.3 trillion in tax increases that President Biden talked about on the campaign trail?
I think that's what we're going to see next. And I think it's important for people to know, why are these coming up in this fashion, so partisan? Certainly COVID, we passed 5 times, very overwhelming bipartisan numbers. I'm sorry that they picked COVID relief to be the first package that comes up in this very partisan manner. But the next thing we're expecting is a huge infrastructure package. I'm part of the development of the highway bill in my committee, but it's not going to be paid for. And that's the way that you evade paying for these things, is to push it into this reconciliation package where they're going to raise taxes and use that to offset some of the expenditures in infrastructure. This should be done together. We should be doing this through our committees. We're asking them to come back to the table and talk to us. I went back to the president to talk about infrastructure. I believe it's important. We do a 5-year bill every 5 years. We should do another one, but we should do it together. And they're bypassing any kind of buy-in from the other 50 of us, 50 senators, who happen to be of an opposite party.
So, I mean, they passed this in the House with no GOP support at all. Does that mean Republicans, you can't do anything to stop this aggressive agenda then?
In this case, no, because you need 50 votes. That means every single Democrat needs to line up with them. I don't think they're going to get any Republican support because of the way it was put together, and the bloated spending in there is just out of control. And I think we're going to see more and more of this. And it's going to take the vice president to come in and break the tie, which I believe she will do. And then the American people are going to have to pay literally for this, and it's going to be tough on future generations.
All right, Senator, look, our audience understands the issues. We appreciate you fighting the good fight. We'll keep checking back with you. Thank you so much. Shelley Moore, Capito. We'll see you soon. All right.